we will get started because it is 12:15. So thank you all for coming. Thank you all for coming. Okay, I do want to say I do appreciate everyone who makes it to our Lunch and Learns, and I hope you're enjoying all the food that we provide as well as the learning material. And so today, I'm filling in because originally we had someone else doing the training that was scheduled who was no longer working in Orange County. But we thought this was, and that's Justin, in case you didn't know. Justin was supposed to do a training for us, but he has moved to the Intermountains Division, so we wish him well. But we are gonna spend a little bit of time today talking about AI, and I call it AI 101 because in college or in college courses, like 101 is like the basic introduction, okay, to the topic. And why I titled it as AI 101 as an introduction is because, to be honest, I am not the expert in AI in this room. I will be the first to say that I am still learning about it, but AI is definitely a topic that is a hot topic right now, and it's going to continue to be a hot topic just in the workplace in general. And so we thought, I can't wait to become an expert in this topic because that day may never come. Because even the creators of AI don't know what it's fully capable of doing. And I learned that at my SHRM conference an HR conference I recently went to, saying that the capabilities of AI is just astronomically crazy and ridiculous, that even the creators are not sure like what it's all capable of doing because it's so advanced. And it's gonna continue to evolve and develop just as time goes on. And so there's no better time to jump on and start learning than now. Okay, and so I've been dabbling in it a little bit from last fall, just as the topics have been coming up during different HR trainings. And a lot of people, I don't know if you've heard in the news or just through maybe news feeds that you may get that AI is going to now take over the world, or it's going to take over all of our jobs, and it's going to cause all this and that. Now, I can't predict the future, but I do think that AI does have a big part in the workforce and in the workplace. And so it's important to know how can we utilize AI to benefit or to be able to help us in our work and to help make it more efficient, for us to maybe save some time and use it as a tool to help us and make it an advantage that we have over whether it's our peers or just other people in the industry. And so we're just going to talk a little bit about that. But before we do, I want to take a quick poll, and you can use your thumbs down, thumbs in the middle, or thumbs up to just show how do you feel about AI, as in like your comfortability and or your level of kind of proficiency. Do you feel like this is something brand new to you where you can put thumbs down? If you feel like I feel like I'm a little okay with it, I've explored it a little bit, that would be like in the middle. And if you feel like I have a good grip on AI and I feel comfortable with ChatGPT and using it all to help me, then you can give me a thumbs up, just to kind of gauge the room. Okay, middle, down, middle, down, up. Okay. Joseph, what is this? Oh, that guy in the middle. Okay, so you're in the middle. Okay. I saw like thumbs down in the middle. Okay. So for most part, it's more kind of down or in the middle. Okay, so in the room, that's good. I feel that I'm kind of like in the middle as well. So I'm also kind of learning as we go. But I do want to share at least what I've learned so far, so I can share that with you, and then we can always continue to learn together and continue to explore. So when it comes to AI, what AI stands for is artificial intelligence, and that refers to basically the development of a computer system that's capable of performing tasks that typically require HI, which is human intelligence, right? So AI cannot exist without the human aspect, without the human element, because at the end of the day, it's a machine, it's a computer machine that will do what the human tells it to do. Okay, so in short, that's what AI is. And so it's, now that we have such advanced technology, the tasks that it's able to do is, it kind of, the list goes on, but in short, it can do lots of learning, reasoning, problem solving, even provide you with perception and different languages as well, so it can translate things for you. So here are the different types of AI. I'm going to start a little bit with history and some generic information, and then we're going to actually go into the practical side of how you can use something like ChatGPT or Gemini or Copilot to help you in your workplace. But I wanted to give a little bit of background information. So there's narrow AI, which is the weaker AI, which it will just do one task that it recognizes, or there can be stronger AIs, or the general AI, which can do human-like cognitive thinking for you. Okay, so it can do a lot more things. So things like virtual assistants or recommendations, which we are all familiar with. So whether you knew it or not, AI is all around us, and you use it every single day. So when you Google search something, do you think that's AI? Yes, it kind of gives you the predictions of what they think that you're gonna type in, and gives you lots of different recommendations, right? So that's AI in and of itself. Also, if you use Siri, saying, hey Siri, what's the weather today? Hey Siri, give me directions to blah, blah, blah. Hey Siri, pull up a recipe for me. That's all AI, right? Listening to you and responding to what you're asking it to do. So let's take a quick guess at how far back do you think AI studies began? The studies of AI, how far back do you think it began? Just shout out a decade, or the 50s, okay? 80s? 30s? Early 90s? Oh, 1900s. Way back into the early 1900s, okay? Shows us 1950s? 1940s. Okay, now all the decades are coming. 40s, 30s, 20s. Okay, so the studies show that the early days of AI, like the field studies beginning, was as early as 1850s. Okay, so it does go far back. And then during the 60s and 70s, the research and development started to take place a little bit more. And then in the 80s and 90s is when we were introduced to machine learning. Okay, so it is a lot more kind of more recently that they started developing more advanced level machine learning, which are the computers and the systems of it being able to respond at a little bit of a more advanced level. I'm sorry, 1950s. Did I say 1850s? Yes. I'm sorry, 1950s. Before William Booth, okay, sorry, no, this is not before the Salvation Army. It began in 1950s, sorry about that clarification, 1950s. And then more recently in the 20s, you've seen it go into deep learning, where it gets widespread into the AI industries that we see in our everyday usage of AI. Okay, so how does AI work? It is, again, I'm not a tech person, just as a disclaimer. So for me, I have to simplify everything for me to understand, which is why I named it AI 101, so that it's a common language that we can all understand. But how AI works is that whatever data that is collected in the system, it will be able to kind of think through and analyze and then kind of spit out information, right? So it does involve collecting a collection of data, and obviously someone that needs to input the data, right? Which is why the human element is needed to be able to have data inputted into the computer, the machine, or the platform. And then there's algorithms, and that is when the machine actually does things with information and the data that's been fed. So when you look up Instagram, if you have an Instagram account, and if you look through your news feed and you see advertisements or different things that may pop up, that is based on what you have liked or what you have clicked on or what you have searched, because it is AI thinking and processing the data that it has collected. So for me, what I've been using a lot for Instagram, actually, honestly, is to get some training material. So once I started clicking on like HR training topics, it keeps suggesting more, which is why I know that there are lots of resources out there if we just look for them, if you want to continue to do professional development. So then training is also needed. So, again, even though it's a machine, it needs to continue to teach it, upgrade it, train it, so that the AI world or the machine is doing what you want it to do, what the creators want it to do. And then there is also the prediction part of it. And so the more information it's fed, the more accurate information it's fed, the more data it's fed, it's able to give better prediction of the data that it's been fed. So those are the different components that kind of when it comes to how AI works. And I'm just going to give you an example of all of us being part of feeding AI information and data, whether you knew it or not. So have any of you done this? Click the box where it has a fire hydrant, or click the box where there's a bicycle, or click the box to show that you are not a robot, right? To show that you are a human. And you have to do this for like a verification step when you're signing up for something or accessing a website or anything like that. Or I thought this one was cute. Click a box where the dog is smiling. Right? And so that is part of you training AI and you giving it information. So now that the AI computer knows, oh, this is what a smiling dog looks like. This is what a fire hydrant looks like. And so we are actually all part of we play an active role when it comes to the AI training, when it comes to just in a general sense. Okay. We're going to jump into doing a little bit of the exercise itself, but when it comes to the risks of AI, I think it's important that we also know the risks that it involves. We can't just because it's a crazy high-tech tool, we can't just take it for the face value either. We have to know the risks. So when it comes to data quality, the AI system that you are going to be using, we have to make sure that we have to be aware that sometimes there's going to be biases within the answer or the information that it spits out. So there could be biases, there could be some false information in there as well. So we have to do our part and do our due diligence in confirming the source, making sure that the information that ChatGPT is spitting out at you is actually accurate. And so that's why we still need to do the part to make sure that the credibility and the information and the accuracy of it is still true. So we can't just copy and paste. It is good to do our own background or research when it comes to that. Interpretability of understanding how the AI system comes to the decision. Again, it also affects the trust and the accountability of it, so that kind of goes hand in hand with the data quality. And then the third is that there's also the risk that information that is being entered in there can be exposed to the public, which is why security or privacy has to be something that you should be aware of. In the Salvation Army, when I've reached out to IT to ask if we can unlock Copilot, which is part of Microsoft, the system that the Salvation Army uses for email and all of that. When I asked if we could use that, obviously there's a user cost and everything, but they did say, please be aware that any information or data you input, make sure that it's not like confidential information or high level of security information about the organization, because that means when you input it out, or when you put it out there, it's kind of now put out there for that machine to be able to have that information. So generally speaking, what I've done is when I need ChatGPT or AI to help me with information, I don't include like people's names, and I may say, give me, and we're going to go through some demonstration that way so you can do it. And keeping it generic, and then I can input the specifics afterwards. So just knowing that, what can we do as people who are using this tool and using AI? So we definitely have to monitor and do some overseeing of the systems. And when I put in the parentheses there, tech, IT, HR, legal, that's more on the broader, like higher level scale of if we wanted to come up with our own AI system for the Salvation Army, we could. Our IT team, and we would probably need to hire some high-tech level people who are familiar with AI to come up with our own internal, like Salvation Army, AI system. We could. But right now, since we don't have that, what we want to do is make sure that we are continuing to just monitor and be aware of the data quality of what you use it for and how you're going to use it. The second thing is the ethical use. So again, when it comes to you using information that ChatGPT gives to you, or Gemini, or any other platform that you want to use, make sure that we use it responsibly. I know that as AI has kind of been blowing up, my biggest question was, how do educators know that an essay that a student writes is their own and it's not ChatGPT that wrote it for them? And I'm sure they're coming up with ways for even educators to be able to run that by some test or a site where you can tell if it was like originally written or a computer wrote it for them. But those are things just to be aware of. So we can definitely use it to help us and to give us the advantage when it comes to our work, but we just have to make sure we use it ethically, because some things we want to make sure that if it's a credentialed a professional that should be giving you that advice or whatnot, then you want to make sure that you're running through the right process and steps. And then again, the human element. We still want to use our brains and our hearts, right? So even though we're using AI, we want to make sure that we understand that AI doesn't have emotions, right? And so even though, let's say, we may want to ask for a script on how to have a difficult conversation with an employee, you're not going to just copy and paste and just read it to the employee, right? It still needs to come from you as a colleague or as a manager, and understand that empathy, compassion, grace, or explanation or reason still needs to take place, which happens in your brain and in your heart. So that's why we can't take out the human element when we are using AI. So let's go through some practical ways of how we can do this. And for those who are more visual learners, this is just more of a graphic on how it works. So whatever input you put in, it goes through the machine learning and the information, and then it will give you the output of what you're looking for. And so the better input you give it, the better output you get, right? Does that make sense? So when it comes to the application portion, what we call the word that we use is prompts. And so I'm going to use ChatGPT as the example and a demonstration just because it's the most common or popular one. But you can use Gemini for, I believe, Google. There's Copilot for Microsoft. And there are a few others, but those are the most common ones that people are using. So ChatGPT is basically an expert in whatever you want it to be, which is why it's great as an assistant for you to just get information from. So it can be an editor for you. It can help you create forms. It can help you write emails. Whatever you ask it to do, as far as like in a written format, like it will help you with that. So you can ask it for a step-by-step instruction on how to be on a low-carb diet. Or for a woman who is in their 40s with this kind of background, I need some step-by-step instructions on how to have a healthy workout schedule. So whatever you give it, it will analyze that and gather the information and then give you the recommendation or the suggestion, right? And so the capability of it is quite amazing, and I think it's great for us to practice using it so that we know how to use it to be a benefit for us. Now, it can also help with content. So if you are, let's say, someone on Instagram or social media and you wanted to come up with the top most popular hashtags for whatever the content is that you're posting so that it can get the most views, ask that and it will give you the top 10 hashtags for a music class within Orange County for the youth. Then it will give you kind of the most popular search or popularly searched hashtags, so that you can use that and just copy paste it on your post. It will give you a way to write your post so that it can attract more people and a better audience. So again, it's knowing how to utilize it, and as long as you get better at doing that, you can just have it at your fingertips. So I'm going to share with you this cheat sheet that I found very handy. So this is the prompt, it's a prompt cheat sheet. So if you can just go ahead and pass it around. This is not the only way to do it, but this has been one that I found to be helpful. You already have one, yes. Actually, can you pass that back? And we'll go. Oh, let me grab one actually.
Oh, you need one?
Sorry, you need one up here for Louis. Okay, so here are how the prompts can work. Okay, better prompts, better results. So this one uses an acronym of CREATE, C-R-E-A-T-E, and it says the first one is for context, so you are telling it to be a life coach, if that's what you're looking for. And then you're asking it for whatever result you need. So you are wanting to write, let's say, a manual on how to do whatever it is that you're looking for. So you want to be as specific as you can, because the more specific you are, again, the output or the results will be more accurate or closer to what you're looking for. You can also edit it as you go. So you can give it a first prompt, a first go at the prompt in a general sense, and then you can always edit it after you see what ChatGPT has given you, and then maybe you want to twist it or edit it to make it more specific on a certain area. But it always helps to include the context. Basically, who do you want it, what kind of persona do you want it to embody? And then what is the result? You are writing me an email to employees of a nonprofit organization. Like, that's something that I use a lot when it's something that I wanted to generate. And then you're saying, because that's the audience. Employees are the audience, right? And then you can say the tone that you want it. You can say, I want it to sound friendly, but professional, but concise. Like, you can describe the style of writing that you want them to do. And then any more details you can include there. So what I use this for, which has been very helpful, is, for example, our employee newsletters. I love gathering all the writings from everyone, but sometimes the space that I have may not be as big as, let's say, the writing that they provided. And so I can say, condense this paragraph to under 100 words. And then it will take whatever was written. Let's say when Pastor Harvey sends me something or when Allison sends me something, I will copy and paste it and say, condense it to 100 words, and then it will rewrite it, keeping the messaging the same, but with less words. Right? You can ask it for grammatical errors too. So if you're not a strong writer and you want someone to edit your work before you send it to clients or other agencies, you can copy and paste your writing and say, please check for grammatical errors. Please make it more persuasive. Make it more professional. Make it convincing yet friendly. Right? You can describe how you would want it to sound. Now, the important thing here is that I'm going to remind everyone each time you use this is please do not just copy and paste it, because when people start picking up that all you're doing is using ChatGPT to write for you, you lose credibility. Okay, you lose credibility. So when I use it as a tool to help me as a starting point, right, I do use it, but I go back and I change the words and I'll take out words that I normally don't use because I still want it to sound like praise. Right? I don't want it to sound like a robot or a machine or a computer. I still want it to sound like praise. So I'll take out words that I wouldn't normally use. Maybe that word helps me think of another word that I may be more likely to use, and I can edit that. Or maybe that's not the phrasing of how I would, it doesn't sound like me, but it gave me a good starting point, so then I'm gonna maybe edit this part of the sentence and make it more, more natural to me. And so I think that's the important part, is that we always have to go back and review it, edit it, and still keep your voice to personalize it to you. Because if you keep just copying, pasting again whatever it spits out, and people start finding out and just following along and to pick up that it is just ChatGPT that you're solely relying on, then the credibility is lost. So we're going to do a little exercise. If you have your laptop with you, if you don't, you can use your phone. And if you just Google in there on your phone or on your Safari or whatever, whichever one you use, ChatGPT, you will see. Let me see if I can move this over. Okay. The hard part here. Okay. Oh. It's the hard part of. All right. So if everyone can get to ChatGPT, and you can either follow along, or I'm going to give you a few minutes to practice on your own with any kind of writing material that you want them to help you with. So when I did this with our managers last month, I did share that you can use this as a coaching tool to come up with either a coaching plan for your employees if you need to have a coaching session, and you can put in there, let's say, the topic that you want to address or the behavior you want to address, and it'll give you some suggestions step by step on what you can do. So that's an example. For case managers, I'm sure when you meet with clients, you can maybe help, or you can enter in the information that you've gathered and ask it to either rewrite it or organize it or put it into bullet point or categorize it into the different steps that you want it to be. So it can help you organize writing, it can help you come up with a list, it can help you with content, or just in general, the basic way is just helping you with your writing skills in itself, right? So for example, I used this to write a recommendation letter for a friend, and I said, please write me a professional recommendation letter for Tammy, or Bob, or whatever name you want to put, and I wrote a few descriptions saying she is a very dedicated, loyal, employee. Some of her strengths are X, Y, and Z, and I just kind of plainly listed out just different descriptions, and then it beautifully writes this professionally written, reference letter, and then I went back and just revisited and maybe tweaked a few things here and there to make it complete, and then I sent that off on its way. So it can do a lot of different things, but I think practically speaking here, if you wanted to write, I guess I will ask if someone has an example of, let's say, a writing sample that you want maybe ChatGPT to help you with. What would be an example of something that's maybe relevant to your position or something that you would want? Yeah.
Yeah, I did this and it was amazing. I wanted to create summer camps, agendas for each day for the teachers, and it did it way better than I could. And I just tweaked it to what fit.
Would fit your, So it can spit out a lot of information. You can say to then condense it, or you can just take parts of it, right, of what's relevant maybe to our specific program or our specific, the children or the age group, and you can even ask for that. You can say, create a curriculum for ages or grades like 1 through 3, 1st to 3rd grade, and then 4th through 5th grade, and then it will even categorize it that way and adjust it. Yeah, that's really great. Any sample writing you would want me to maybe put in there, just to see what it will spit out?
I created how to budget course for the homeless adult population.
Okay, sorry, say that one more time.
How to budget course for the homeless adult population.
How to budget for the homeless population.
Course for
A budget course, yeah, a budget course for the homeless population. So when Allie's meeting and wanting to provide resources to any of the homeless clients to be able to come up with a budget course on what topics to go over and how to organize it, and having a set structure that way. Yeah, I think when it comes to like training material or like a teaching how to, it can pretty much give you anything. Yes, even like how to write a children's book, or write me a children's book on kindness and keep it to 12 pages. I mean, it can do that. If you want to do a training on a specific topic that's related to your department, and let's say you wanted to do kind of a teaching your fellow staff about something that you need to go over with them, you can ask for the, suggestions, and it will come up with the content, and you can then pick what's relevant and more accurate to what you're trying to accomplish, right? Just for fun, I tried putting in, like, come up with lyrics to a song on the topic of AI and sound like 50 Cent, but keep it radio version, right? And it spits it out, and it just comes up with some original like rap song lyrics, and it talks about how AI is, the up and coming, but like it will do that for you, right? And then I said later, I think I did this for the supervisor training, I said, now change it to sound like Taylor Swift. And then it obviously is not like a rap song, but it has more like rhyming song, word choices. It changes it up, right? So you can just use it for that's kind of a silly, just fun example to do, but I just wonder, I wonder what's gonna come up with. So I tried it, and it works. So whether it's personally or professionally for work, I think as long as you know how to use like something like ChatGPT as a starting point, it will help you when it comes to just more efficiency or just saving time, maybe doing some research. Of course, the basics of what I mentioned above your writing skills, but for me personally too, I'm going on a trip in Europe, and I wanted to know what I should look at. Like, what are the most top 10 places to go to in Paris? And what would be a budget, a reasonable budget, right? And it spit it out. And then it gave it to me in pounds, and I said, can you convert it to dollars? And it converted to dollars. And so, again, what it's capable of, I think it goes beyond probably what we can imagine, but the more you use it, I think, like Alyssa was saying, you just have to kind of start and just see what it will give you and what it's able to do, and you can get a better sense of how to use it for your benefit, right? Again, I don't think in our work here at the Salvation Army, because we are in the human service field, AI is not going to replace us as humans who need to help others in the services we provide, but AI can definitely enhance your work by making some things easier, or maybe some things faster, doing some research for you. And so I think in that sense, we need to learn how to utilize AI and the technology that's available to us to make our jobs easier when it comes to that. You can even ask it to compare websites. If there are multiple, let's say, resources that's out there for clients, and you wanted to compare what are the differences of these two different companies, and you copy and paste the websites and say, please list me the comparisons. It will do that. Compare the pros and cons of the resources that these companies will offer. It will do that for you. So in that sense, I think it can save a lot of time. I think when I was looking into, as another example, like which video editing or video creating site would be the best one to use. Compare like pricing, compare the features and all this and that, and then it kind of went and listed out the different top, most popularly used, sites or companies, and it gave me the pros and cons and the pricing and what it's able to do and not do. And then of course it just saves you time as far as like the starting point, and then you do want to go in there and to look more into it if you do want to lean towards one site over the other, but it just helps you in that as a starting point. So I think that's a great thing about it that we can utilize. So yeah, ChatGPT, again, this is a free version. It is limited on what you can do as a free version. You can pay for it. I think it's $20 a month. Ollie's saying no. You can pay $20 a month for the ChatGPT 4.0, which can generate images as well. But I think Gemini can generate images with the free version. So there are pros and cons even within the different websites. So I am not here as a spokesperson for any one of them. I just use ChatGPT because that's like the popular one, the first one that I heard of, and I'm just more comfortable using. So there are different advantages to using one or the other, but when you have the paid version and can do more of the advanced features, when you ask for an image that you want to use on a flyer, right? And you describe it, saying, I want an image with a girl sitting on the street holding a teddy bear. Like, it will generate that for you, and you can use that for promotion purposes, flyer purposes, or social media purposes, or whatever it may be. So again, what it's capable of doing, even data analysis, I think you can put in, information of a chart, and it can then reformat it to something else that you want, or come up with a script or description describing what this data is telling you. So it has more advanced features. I don't have the paid one to know and show you right now, but I know that those are all the capabilities that it can do. So if you're someone who wants to dive into it a lot more, then this is what I mean by we can be learning together, as in okay, maybe you explore an area of it and you find out and you want to then share it with your colleagues. This isn't information that is going to benefit you just by keeping it to yourself, because I think the more we can all collectively as employees use this, it's helping you in your work, and then it's helping your team as well. And then as an organization, we can at least try to get started in utilizing AI and ChatGPT and these features to help us in the work that we do. Any questions? Up to there. Again, I'm not an expert, so I can't maybe answer all the technical sides of all the AI, but I'm hoping that the cheat sheet here can be at least a good starting point for you to try on your own, at your own time if you want, or you can try some now. We will end a little bit early so you can have some time. But it's been interesting just to explore what comes out when you put in some good prompts for it. So if you want to spend a few minutes to put in some prompts and see what it spits out and want to talk about it and share, that's great. I'm gonna hang out for a little bit till 1 o'clock, but that kind of wraps up as far as how we can start utilizing AI. And when it comes to, let me close this. Again, just as a reminder, don't forget the human element, the human intelligence that we need to apply when we're using AI. Practice it, be hungry for more, and if you continue to learn features and learn different ways to utilize it, please share with us so we can also learn together.